you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you could possibly imagine.
What's up, Splinterlands fans? This is Bulldog here, and today it's time to start a brand new video series. I have put together my starter deck recommendations for all 5 splinters. Over the next 5 days, I will be releasing 5 different videos, one for each splinter. And this is technically something that I've already done before, but it was really outdated. These were some of my most popular videos, but they've been out a while. The game has changed a lot over the last couple months. The last year, things are completely different, so it was time to dive in and redo these. And this actually came up on Discord when somebody asked how much it costs to build a competitive silver deck, or a deck that can play, at least in ranked play, in silver. And I said it can be done pretty easily for under $100. And I got a flood of messages from people wanting to basically see a list. Give me a list of cards I can buy for under $100 that'll let me go compete in silver. So I put this together. I've broken it down by splinters or by elements. And when I'm creating a new account, I kind of like to have 3 different elements to play with. Some people will do less. You can definitely do it with 2, but I feel like it's a lot more comfortable with 3. So if we're going to choose 3 of these elements to build a deck with for under $100, each one needs to be around $33, right? So for all 5 of these videos, each splinter or each element is going to, the deck's going to range from $30 to $35. So if you choose any of these 3 at the prices that I'm making this video at, which will no doubt change, but as of right now, that would be a silver deck for under $100. And I say silver deck, these are going to be bronze level cards. It's going to use the Bronze League caps. But right now, again, as I'm making this video, you can take Bronze League cards and go play in silver ranked without too much of a problem. So we're going to use Bronze League cards, but they can still play in silver. Not necessarily silver leaderboard, but they can play in silver ranked play. So let's not waste any more time. Let's go jump in. Let's look what we've got, because we are starting with the life deck. So I've put this all together for you, so you guys can even screenshot this if you want. This is what I built out. I gave myself about a $30 budget. All of this cost about $30. And yeah, prices are going to change, but hopefully the concept can still work, and it can give players a place to start. And I do want to say one more thing before I dive into the individual cards. I highly recommend renting first. If you're a new player, take this list right here, go rent the cards, see which ones you use, see which ones you like, and then start buying those up. So that would definitely be my recommendation. But anyways, with all of these, we are going to start with level 2 Chaos Summoners, because those are basically the cheapest summoners. So here we have General Sloan. General Sloan gives +1 ranged damage. So he's not necessarily my favorite life summoner, but he is pretty solid. He's going to be the cheapest one, allows you to get level 2 cards. I think it's very important to go ahead and get a level 2 summoner, so that even if you're not leveling up some of these cards specifically, you can grab some rentals at a higher level, that type of thing. If you want to go spend a little bit more, because my budget's, I mean, it's completely random what I've chosen, right? I'm just trying to stick to a specific budget. Everybody's gonna have a different budget. It's not gonna be, okay, you have to stay within $30. You want to spend a little bit more, go look at a summoner like Lorna Shine, for example. That is a much more versatile summoner, and I really like her a lot better. So go give her a look if you're interested in bumping up your budget a little bit for life. But staying at kind of a low budget here, we're gonna go with General Sloan level 2, and then we're gonna add a bunch of range cards. So Venari Crystal Smith is a fairly cheap reward card, and we're gonna see some of these in battle here, but we're kind of going through it just a little bit. Helicore Arbalest is a great range card. You're just adding, the strategy is pretty simple, right? Use a +1 range summoner, add a bunch of range damage, and at lower leagues, the +1 damage is huge, because a lot of cards are only 1 or 2 range damage. And when you can do +1 range, you're going to double their damage. You're going to add +50% damage to those cards. So the +1 attacks are much more powerful. Those summoners that give +1 attack are much more powerful at lower leagues than they are at higher leagues. So this is something you can definitely take advantage of. When we're looking at tanks, I've got a level 3 Chaos Knight here, which I think is a very good budget option. The gold standard life tank is Shield Bearer. Absolutely. Shield Bearer costs $13 right now though. and I just could not fit Shield Bearer in the budget. Shield Bearer is a starter card, so you can even use it at level 1 still if you want. It's going to hurt your earnings if you use a starter card, but it can still be used. So again, if you're going to bump the budget up a little bit, I absolutely recommend using Shield Bearer that has a taunt that can really protect some of these ranged cards in the back are fairly weak. They can't take a lot of hits. They can be vulnerable to some sneak attacks, things like that. So if you get Shield Bearer, that is definitely a solid option. I've also put a Fiend. You are going to see a level 2 Summoner and a level 2 Chaos Summoner and a Fiend on all of these lists. I know the Fiends are about $5 right now. That makes up a pretty significant part of the budget, but having a Fiend is such a game changer, and it's a card that you're gonna play even if you go up to all the way up to Diamond Champion. Fiends are an essential part of these battles here, so I absolutely recommend grabbing one. It's a 0 mana card that you can just throw in when there's an empty spot, and being able to take just an extra hit or an extra 2 hits, whatever the case is, can really be a huge difference. So I am putting a Fiend in all of these. So let's go look at the life strategy in action, because again, I feel like this isn't too complicated of an element to actually run here. So let's go over. Let's look at some actual battles here. Let's see something in action. So here is, you'll see up top we've got the team that we're kind of looking at. This is actually life versus life here, so you can see both battles, similar strategies here, but you're gonna see how good of a tank Chaos Knight can be. With that shield, Chaos Knight can be a monster of a tank versus melee and versus range damage. So one of the problems I think with these life teams though is you see a lot of Magic teams down in bronze and silver with Obsidian. Obsidian is very, very good, and these teams can be weak to Magic attacks. So when the counter to your team is one of the best, or one of the most commonly used out there, it does kind of hurt. But still, if you're not expecting Magic, a team like that can be very, very good because it throws out a ton of range damage. So I do want to show it with Shield Bearer though. Again, I know Shield Bearer is not actually on my list, but it's still a starter card that you can play, and we're going to see that down here. Again, you've got a little higher level cards, but I still just want to showcase how this team can actually work. You see some Magic up top. Shield Bearer, because he's got that armor, I mean, ideally you don't want him to go up against Magic, but it can still work because he's got that taunt. You've got a heal back there that can do a little bit of damage, and then you just have so much range damage. This Arbalest here that can do three damage twice is very nice. You get Crystal Smith, who you can get some decent damage out of on top of a heal. Can work very, very well. There we see just tons of damage. Telecore Conjure is one of the cheapest cards in the game. That's who you saw was tanking there at the end, or I guess they had snipe, so didn't end up tanking, but was in a spot to tank. That is I think that's one of the most underrated cards in the game. That getting a decent tank for 2 mana is so valuable because it's a common reward card though. It's pretty cheap right now, so I do recommend going out and getting that. And then let's look at a different option. If you don't want to use ranged, there are some other options with this team. You can actually get a decent sneak and even opportunity team in here, and that's what we're gonna see right here. Now, the problem is, even though there's some decent sneak cards, when you go with a lineup like this, you get nothing out of your summoner. So that's kind of the big weakness here. But we've still got Stitch Leash, we've got your Reyes here, and again, I know they're a little bit higher level than what I've got, as these are maxed out for silver level. It's hard for me to find battles to actually showcase here, so I just wanted to find a few battles that could actually show off the team, so you guys could see that. But that's kind of a look at what you get with your life team. But a lot of times, again, the strategy for it ends up being fairly simple most of the time. As we'll go back to the list here. Load up on range damage. Just load up on range damage. Get as much of the tanks up there as you can to protect them, and just go to town with all that range damage. So it worked. I really like this team in lower leagues, high mana battles, where you can really get in a lot of those attackers, and you have enough mana to use something like a Shield Bearer. You can get something beefy up front, and you can really put together a lot of range. So again, you're gonna have a lot of people that disagree with me on the exact the exact cards or anything like that. Again, some of it was also me funneling into trying to fit into a specific budget as well. I was trying to find a snipe team. I didn't get to show a snipe team, but at the very end of this list, we have Lone Boatman and Mantoid. I added those two in because those are sniped range cards, and that's another team that you can put together that I actually really like to attack those snipe targets, those backline cards, and you can get a lot of snipe damage in there as well. So that's another option, but it's all about range with General Sloan. So if you have any questions, certainly let me know. I'm very interested to see how long this holds up. Again, if the prices are going to change, guys. We know that. We've seen that from past videos. If you guys go look back at my past videos, you'll see me recommending buying Jotun when Jotun's $25 or whatever the case is. Prices are definitely going to change, but hopefully this gives new players an idea, because so many times I get people coming to me, okay, what cards do I start with? Well, here's a good list of cards to go out and start with. You've got a lot of starter cards on here, but again, a big change from the last time I made the video is starter cards no longer earn. So you do want to actually go out and pick up those starter cards that you are using the most of. So I'm very curious to see what the comments are. Absolutely. See what people like about this, what people don't like. I know there's always going to be some people that disagree, but that can always be good. Go down in the comments and see what are people saying. Oh, you left that. How did you leave out this card? You've got to put this card on here, and maybe that's a card that you go look at. And once again, I highly recommend going and renting, like go through and just rent all these cards. It's very, very cheap to just go through and rent these for 2 days. Rent them, try them out, see what you like, what you don't like, what fits your play style, what doesn't, and then go out and the ones that you rent and you find yourself playing a lot, then go out and purchase those cards and start to grow your deck that way. So anyways, thank you guys so much. Remember, there's going to be 4 more of these coming, each from the next day. We've got some sponsored streams coming up next week. I think it's, I can't remember how many, but I've got a bunch of fiends to give away on some live streams for the next couple weeks. A bunch of fiends, including a gold foil fiend. I talked about earlier about how important those fiends are, right? Make sure you guys come down. I've got my Twitch link down below. I think they'll be dual streamed on here on YouTube as well. Make sure you guys follow me though. Go join my Discord so you can get notifications when I go live, and we'll give away a bunch of fiends next week. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you on the next one.